I do not do spiders. If something falls on me tonight, I'm burning this place down. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Sade, and as you can tell by the title, today's video is going to be a story time. So for those of you guys that are new here, I recently moved out into my first apartment, so everyone has been asking me how's it been going, and yeah, this story time is about all of that. I never know where to begin when I have a story to tell anyone, but basically I knew that I wanted to move out for quite some time now. I would say probably a year and a half to 2 years, but for certain reasons I just never made that push. Obviously, like I'm sure a lot of people have thought about, like your financial situation and everything, so that was one thing that was holding me back. Also, I was living with my grandmother, so I was afraid that I wasn't going to be around enough to help her with whatever she needed help with. I would say those were like the top 2 reasons that I was afraid to move out. But then when I got back from Vancouver over the summer, I was like, okay, something in me changed. It's like, it was one of those moments where you know. So I knew deep down inside it was time, I was ready. So I started looking, and let me tell you, looking for a place is a full-time job. Also, it's my first time moving out, so I wanted to make sure that it was within budget. Also, I wanted to make sure that I was close to my grandmother, so if she needed me, like it was easy for me to get to her. And I also just wanted to be in the area that I basically grew up in, and it's what I'm used to. So looking for an apartment in this area has been not the easiest, because obviously with COVID and everything else, like things are through the roof. And at the same time, I still want to be able to save. So yeah, so I looked for a few months, and then long story short, I was about to give up because I was like, hey, this is way too much for me. Like I'm over it. And then I came across the apartment that I'm in now, and I was like, okay, the rent is perfect. Like it's within budget. Let's go and see it. Reached out to the guy, and I found it on Facebook Marketplace. Reached out to him, went to see it the next day, and I was like, okay, it has lots of things that I want. Like it had an in-unit washer and dryer, which is something that I never grew up with, but I was like, okay, I know how convenient it is to have one, so great. It had the open concept, it had the kitchen island. I was like, okay, this is great. It's fully renovated. So yeah, so that night I went home, I filled out the application, sent it in, and now this is where things get juicy. So sent in the application. Within, I think, a day or a day and a half, I got the call that I got the place. And you think that your first instinct would be to like jump for joy and be super excited, which I felt like that was going to be the case, because I was like, it's my first apartment, I'm gonna be on my own, I can't wait, like I can't wait to decorate, I can't wait to do all these fun things. Yeah, no, I started bawling my eyes out, like sobbing. And Eric is like, oh, are you okay? And I called my sister, I had called my mom, I think I called my grandmother as well, and then I called one of Eric's cousins that I'm really close with, and they're like, why are you crying? Like, you should be happy right now. And literally in that moment, I was like, I don't know. I knew they were not happy tears, that is for sure. I was like, I don't know if it's the fact that like I don't feel like this is the right place for me, or if I'm just crying because I'm super scared to move out because it's my first time. I'm gonna be on my own. I don't know if I'm gonna, and obviously in the back of my mind I'm like, what if I can't afford it? What if I go broke in a year? What if this happens? What if that happens? Literally worst case scenario. And I was like, hey, maybe that's why I'm crying, just because like this is new for me. Like I don't know what to expect. So that's how I took it. Also, when we had gone to look at the place, did not do my due diligence very well. So note to self, do your due diligence and check everything properly. We checked all the like major things, like we checked the water pressure. We looked at everything to make sure that like all the cupboards and the stove and blah, 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 everything was okay. We checked the stove or the oven, fan and light, and it wasn't working. So we brought that up to him and he's like, yeah, don't worry, we'll get that fixed before you move in. Okay, great, cool. Going back, I had 2 weeks to move in, and now looking back I realized, okay, maybe there were some signs as to why I am in the situation that I'm in now. They wanted me to move in like ASAP because I mean I had said that I was ready to move in as soon as possible, but obviously not like within a day. Like I had not packed up yet, so I was like, okay, can we compromise and do January 15th? So that was the move-in date. So I had 2 weeks to just like pack up everything and move all my stuff. Moved in on January 15th, and then everything was totally fine. Still didn't have that excitement. I had that dreading feeling. Like I didn't even want to move in. So I was like, hey, maybe that will change once I'm actually in the space and I'm decorating and doing everything that I need to do. I slowly started unpacking all my stuff, getting whatever furniture that I needed, and I was like, okay, cool, things are going okay. Then I started seeing spiders. I do not do spiders. I hate spiders. If I have to kill it, I will kill it. But if I can get somebody else to do it, I will do that. So yeah, started seeing spiders and I'm like, okay, whatever. I just moved in, like the doors have been open, like they're crawling in, whatever. I was like, okay, whatever. 1 spider, it's fine. 2 spiders, okay, that's totally fine. Like it's normal. I'm in a basement and also like the doors have been open. I've been moving things in and out. Fine. No, because then as the weeks went on, I started to see 1 to 2 spiders a day, maybe 3. And I was like, hey, I don't think that's normal. Literally killing about 3 spiders every single day, and then random bugs as well. Forgot to mention that I also had my brother and his friend come, and we literally plastered all the baseboards because that's where majority of the spiders were coming from. I like literally would not sleep at night. I'd be up with my phone in my hand with the light, and I'm just like looking at the ceiling because I'm like, if something falls on me tonight, I'm burning this place down. Other thing too is the stove fan and light was not fixed, so I brought that up to him. I was like, hi, you had said that this was going to be fixed before I moved in, and they're like, yeah, don't worry, we'll get the electrician to come and do everything. It took them 2 weeks of me living in this space to actually do that. Okay, not the end of the world, like there's way worse things happening out there, but like I'm paying for this. It took 2 weeks for them to come and fix it. The electrician comes and he's like, I don't think it's connected to an electrical current. And I was like, lovely. That was one issue. He had to come back another day with his actual tools, drill a hole in my wall, connect it and everything, and then I had to have somebody else come to plaster it. You had to come, you plaster it, and then you have to come the following day, smooth it out, plaster it again, then come another day and then paint it. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like I have stuff to do. The spiders was another issue. Before I got my blinds, I had the paper bags tied. So I went to take those off and saw that my entire window was frosted, literally full of ice. So I called my mom and my grandmother and I was like, what is happening here? Like I get that it's cold outside, but is this normal? They're like, no, your windows are not properly insulated. And I was like, no wonder it's cold in the apartment. Other side note, I have to pay for heating. So I was like, lovely. It's a small space, so I was like, okay, 22 degrees Celsius, that should be fine. No. The heat kept escaping and it was freezing. And then I would have to blast it to like 25 degrees Celsius in order for the space to actually feel warm. To then find out that the thermostat was broken, and that's why when I would put it to 22 or 23, it wouldn't work. So that was really frustrating. And when I told the landlord about the window situation and he had come to see it, he's like, oh no, it's fine. They're brand new windows. The electrician was there too when he said that. And the electrician was like, they could be brand new windows, but still not be insulated. And the landlord looked at me and he's like, no, it's fine. Don't worry. Like, we'll monitor the situation. What is there to monitor? You clearly know what the issue is. So that was frustrating. And then like literally every week I would have to tell him, okay, the windows are still doing the same thing. My heating is not working. Like, can you figure this out? He's like, yes, we'll send an electrician again. Doesn't tell me what time, nothing. And I'm like, okay, had to follow up with him several times because of that. And I could tell that he was getting annoyed, but it's like, I'm fucking annoyed too. Especially given the fact that I am paying for this. You're not paying my heating bill, so fix the issue. And then also my closet door fell off the hinges to find out that it was actually broken. So that was frustrating. And I told the landlord and I was like, can you have like a maintenance person come and put it back in? Because I couldn't put it in myself. And he's like, oh, the electrician is coming. Just ask him to do you a favor and put it in. And I was like, okay, it's not his job, but literally like I'm not gonna live with my closet door off the hinges for like however long it's gonna take him to come and fix it. So I asked the electrician. 3 days later, the hallway one fell off the hinges and I was like, what is happening? Like, God is testing me right now. But it also took forever for him to come and fix these things. Also, there's no kitchen outlet, so I have to use an extension cord from the living room. Thankfully, it's an open concept and it's not far, to plug in anything that I need to plug in the kitchen. It is such an annoyance. When the electrician had come, I asked him, can you install an outlet in the kitchen because this is really annoying for me? And he's like, oh, there should be one. And even on the like panel thing, it says that there was 2 in the kitchen. Yeah, they built the kitchen island over where the electrical current would go for you to put an outlet. So they messed up there. Also, the kitchen island was literally like glued to the floor, so there's a big gap underneath, and then you see like all the holes where the pipes are. I'm in the basement. I don't even want to know what will crawl out of there in the summertime, if anything. Like, they should have barred that off. So I brought that issue up as well, and it was disgusting under there. Like, clearly whoever cleaned the apartment did not clean under there because there was crackers, there was crumbs. It was disgusting. He had his contractor come to put a little board to block that off. Yeah, the contractor was rude as hell. Also, when he came, I was like, oh, would you like to borrow my measuring tape so you can measure it? And he's like, give it to me. Give him the measuring tape. He measures it, comes back the following day with the wrong size piece. You literally measured it the day before. How does that happen? All this to say is there was a bunch of issues left and right, and literally every week I was contacting him to fix something, and I could tell that he was getting annoyed because at the beginning he was super sweet, very kind, getting very annoyed with me. And I was like, I'm just as fucking annoyed with you because I literally bring up these issues and you take forever to fix them. Granted, I also feel like I'm being a spoiled brat, and like, yes, I get it, it's my first apartment, but these are things that should have been fixed or at least dealt with when I brought it up, especially heating. Like, I moved in the middle of winter and you're not paying my heating bill. That shouldn't be the case. I had emailed him and told him about the issues again, and he's like, been on it and we've been doing our job and fixing everything for you. If you're not happy, then I will gladly terminate your lease at your convenience. So when he said that in the message, I was like, okay, clearly he knows that he did something wrong. He doesn't want to have any issues. He doesn't want me to send him to the rental board. So I took him up on his offer. Right away when he said that, I started looking for apartments again. In the process of looking again, I was thinking to myself, I was like, wow, Sade, you compromised what you wanted. I settled. And now looking back, I realized that I settled for this place. And yes, I'm super excited. I'm so happy to be on my own. I love having my own space. I love being able to decorate. It's making me, like, having my own space will allow me to grow my brand even more. So that was another reason why I really wanted to move out. I felt deep inside like this was the time. Now looking back, like I was saying, when I started bawling my eyes out in that car, it's not because I was afraid to move out and be on my own. It's because my gut was telling me this is not the place for you. Like, you're not going to be happy here. But I completely ignored that. Also, the fact that I was in a basement, that's not something that I wanted. With what I do work-wise, I need bright lights. I was in the basement, literally the windows were all different sizes and they were very tiny. It barely gets any sunlight in, and I'm literally facing a alleyway with then a fence and then garbage cans and recycling bins to the other building. Again, I know how lucky I am and blessed to be able to even move out and get a place on my own. So I'm not in any way like taking that away from anything. I know that I'm lucky, but it's all relative. So these are things that I settled for, and I was very disappointed in myself for that because I should have never done that. I should have listened to my gut, and now moving forward, I will apply that to literally any aspect of my life. Like, when your gut feeling tells you something and your heart is telling you something, listen to it, because more often than not, it is right and it is telling you that something is wrong. So I knew that I was going to be extremely unhappy in this place. Like, I felt depressed. I was unmotivated. I literally had no inspiration to create. I didn't want to do anything. This is also me telling you that whatever you see on social media is a highlight reel. Like, I didn't share any of this on social media. I didn't know how I wanted to share this. I also just like put on a smile and was like, yeah, everything is fine. And I also felt like I mentioned earlier, like I was being a spoiled brat or something, or I didn't want people to look at me and be like, you literally just moved out 2 months ago and now you're moving again, like that's ridiculous. Some people in my family were also saying like, oh, just tough it out, like it's only a year goes by fast. But like when you're completely depressed and unhappy in a space, a year feels like eternity. I can't do this. So I took him up on his offer, found a place. And all that to say is I am moving again. So we are currently the 14th. This lease ends on the 31st and I move into the new apartment on April 1st. I have like 2 weeks to start packing up, and now it's a little bit more things because I got furniture. Like I have the couch, I have the dining table, I have the TV and all that stuff. So yeah, but I am honestly so much happier. I went to see the new place with Eric and I brought my mom this time because I was not gonna make another mistake. She came, she looked at it with me. Eric and I both love it. My mom thinks it's a great place too. It's further from my grandmother, which kind of pains me, but at the same time, like we have Eric's car. I'm also able to just take one bus and I'll be at her place in like 10 minutes, not even. And with the nice weather, I'll be able to walk over, so it's totally fine. But I am so much happier. Like when I walked in and saw this space, I was like, this is the place for me. This is where I was supposed to be. Had I just waited a little bit longer, then I probably would have come across this. It's still within budget, just slightly more, but heating is included. It doesn't have an in-unit washer and dryer. It's not open concept, but when you guys see the place, you will see why I absolutely love it. And also for anyone that knows me, they're gonna look at this place and they're gonna be like, okay, yeah, that's her. Overall, super, super happy with it. Yeah, just follow your gut instinct because it's telling you something. So don't ignore it like I did. But it was a learning lesson, and also had I not gone through this, maybe I would have overlooked the place that I'm at now and thinking that it was going to be too expensive for me. It taught me to follow my heart, follow my gut instinct and listen to it. And also it made me a little bit stronger in the sense that I spoke up for myself and I put myself in an uncomfortable situation to be more vocal about stuff, because usually I would just sit back and be like, it's fine, I'll just figure it out, I'll deal with it. But I was like, no, I'm unhappy, it's my money, like I want out. And he gave me the out, so I took it because clearly he knows that he did a shitty job with this place. It's what you call a lemon. It looks beautiful, but there are so many issues. An older building, I get it, and whenever somebody moves out, they renovate, but he cheaped out on the renovations, and I know that for a fact because I overheard some stuff in the building. So that is that. I am officially moving again, so stay tuned for another empty apartment tour. Stay tuned for a moving vlog. I already started that because I went and got boxes, I signed the lease, like everything is set. Now it's just a matter of packing up and moving it all again. But thank God for my siblings and Eric and my mom and whoever else ends up helping me. Really wanted to share this with you guys because you're going to see me in a completely new space and I'm very excited. I'm super, super excited to share with you guys what the apartment looks like. If you guys enjoyed this story time, I hope it's not going to be too long. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.
I wanna be good to myself, love hard to breathe more, drink less. I wanna be seen at my best, sleep more, be nice a lot less.